Ahoy, crypto pirates and crypto junkies alike. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's always my pleasure. I'm not gonna lie, I almost decided to sleep in instead of coming and hang out with you guys today, but I decided it was better for me to actually show up and keep my word. So here I am. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Before I bring up the other cutthroats, got a few things I'd like to take a look at today. First off, I want to say thanks to everyone for being in here. Freddie Quoch, Trey and Vuya. I don't know who you are, but you look new. Identity Block, Piston Broke, Quattro Cinco, Chaotic Creations, Orion, Brizology, Blaze Makes Music. I'm glad you're here proving your fandom, and all you got to do is look towards the camera, okay? You're not sure which way to look towards the camera. Matthias Martinez, Markable Thoughts, Cabana, Hex Mac, the Hex Swimmer, Miss Hexquisite, Crypto Orange, it's been a while, you've been hiding or something. Crypto King, we got Stylist 19, we got Yellowtail, new person here. Hey, thanks Yellowtail for joining us today. Hopefully we don't chase you out of the community too quick with our nonsense and our shenanigans that we have here. Big Gunner D, X in Excess, the 01 Brand. We got a lot of you guys here today. Kevin Fua. I'm gonna take that as a reference to the Pulse chain. So, Jay, everything. It's Wake Dog, Brennan. It's good to see all you guys. Maddie, thank you guys for joining me today. Blackwing. Too many of you guys. You guys are piling in pretty numerously. A few things. Last night was the first night. It was a non-Richard stream that we broke over 200 viewers at one time. So. Thank you guys for continuing to show up and support the stream. We really enjoy doing this, and we really enjoy this community. So we appreciate you guys helping us be part of it. And we'll continue to bring you all kinds of angles from everybody's different thought processes. And part of the reason we do that is this channel was created for the members of the Hexaking community. And it's not just for, but also by, because you guys all have opinions that Captain and I possibly wouldn't come up with on our own, in most cases wouldn't come up with on our own. And so it's nice to have you guys to feed off of, and we can move forward together and with, a united front. So the other thing is I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we just started using, as of last night, the new logo we've been sitting on for 2 months. We've got shirts coming out. We're just finishing them up. Actually, the Suez Canal really screwed everything up, but it actually worked out really well in our timing, since it's literally backed up every port, especially the port of LA. So we're really excited to have those being finished in production and getting those shipped over here, and not being set in a 3-week queue for boarding and unloading at the dock. So pretty excited about that as well. I don't know if any of you guys have really been looking into what's going on with Uniswap version 3, but I think this is a huge step towards a more efficient market. I really do. Let's be honest, guys. In 2017, it was about the ICO pumps, and how many of your friends and neighbors could you guys get to FOMO into with a new ICO pump and dump full of promises with no delivery, and then the bear run, or the bear cycle comes and nobody works on anything, nothing. I mean, obviously, Richard Hart, we know, was working on this beautiful, beautiful finished triple audited product called HEX that makes us trustless interest every day. But he's one of the few, because there wasn't a lot of things being built. So it's kind of one of those things where crypto wants adoption, but they aren't willing to put in the work. We didn't have people doing the right things. We didn't have people actually building systems to replace the legacy finance system. I really think at this point in time, we're getting so much closer to retail adoption, because we're making things like the Staker app, which I got to give complete appraisals to Steph and Firebutton, because those guys, they're amazing. They literally in the app make the blockchain disappear, and that's what we need. We need user interfaces that people don't have to completely retrain their way of thinking. They don't have to retrain how they interact with things to to deal with finances, we need it simplified. And those guys are just ahead of everyone else as far as it comes to making that blockchain disappear and trying to replace a banking app on your phone. Essentially, is what they're doing. It's it's still early, but that could essentially be what that is. It could be you looking at it could be the next Robinhood app, so to speak, in the way that people are looking at their retirements and their IRAs on their phone. Well, you can do that with Staker now, guys. You can even set that up outside of the Staker app. You can set that up with an IRA or a 401k or something of that nature where it's self-directed, and you can still control that via the Staker app. So we're almost there, guys. We've just got a little while, and I promise you this: hitting that market cap of gold is going to be a really, really easy thing to do once these systems are in place. So it's being built now. It's unfortunate that most people wait till the bull run to do it. The bear market's the best time to do it. But we've got a new transaction layer coming, and I think that's going to take care of a lot of the issues that turn people away with the fees and the bad actors of the Ethereum whales doing some of the shenanigans that they do to enrich themselves. So I'm ready to get off my high horse and bring these other guys in, but I just want you guys to know we're getting there, guys. We're getting there, and HEX is going to lead the way. Thanks for joining me today, guys.
Hello.
Ahoy.
What's up?
Crypto
That was
pirate.
very comforting.
Hello.
I almost sold all my hacks, man.
You too? Oh my god.
Oh, me too. And then I bought back higher. Yeah.
Isn't that how we do things?
That's how most people do things. That's why crypto goes so high.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
who did catch the dump? Anyone here? Because I was asleep.
Which one? Like the yesterday one?
To 2.6, right?
The
2.2.
That one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit
2.1,
below
no?
2.2 something is what I can
Yeah,
say.
2.15.
Yeah, that's right. I watched it, but my economic capital wasn't ready to deploy, and I'm like, damn it, no, go back down.
I just see that wick, and it's just one big joke to me. Like it's just
It looks funny on
that happens.
It looks funny on 1 minute chart, right? It's like whoop, and then boop, 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 boop,
Yeah,
boop.
HEX is training us. Actually, you're supposed to be DCAing up into a pump, into a bull market. You're supposed to. It's counterintuitive, but you're supposed to. And I'm learning to do that the right way through HEX for sure. I see this dip, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get more going. Come on, gobble 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 gobble.
And he looks like a turkey as well, so it works. Gobble, gobble,
Thank you.
gobble.
That's the jowls, yeah, the waddle that I have. Congratulations. Thanks,
The
thanks,
waddle.
Markable. I'll see you in 25 years.
Yeah, probably. I'll have a beard to cover it up.
$500,000 worth of HEX, right?
What?
The guy sold over $500,000 worth of HEX. That's why it drops. And like people
Yeah.
say, there's no liquidity in HEX. So the guy just cashed out $500,000. I mean, he lost money because the slippage, but like you can do it. He did.
Yeah, people say you can't. Apparently you can.
I don't want anyone to buy any more HEX. In fact, I want a few people to dump, and then after I put in my buy orders, then you guys go ham. Okay, you guys go ahead and do your thing. Just want to put that out there to the community. If you could help out a young pirate here and just not buy any more for a little while, maybe a week. I don't know. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I got to get that economic
A week is
energy in there.
okay. I have like funny money coming in a week.
Okay.
I promise.
Hey,
I promise.
What they're saying, guys, is everyone buy. So these guys are going to buy. So
No,
don't listen to
everyone
them.
sell.
Buy now.
Sell out. Don't wait.
Someone said Papa Turkey. Thanks a lot, man. That's awesome.
Maybe that's the rebranding you've been looking for, man.
Lick my naked
that's-
butt and you can get some salmonella, boy.
No, I think
Dude,
turkey
wow.
boner would fit you better.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're saying that. Yeah. That's true.
Thanks a lot. Hey, did anybody else take a whole handful of Aleve headache medicine today and do their taxes like me? Okay, good. Just checking.
No, I did not.
Yeah,
People like me.
You know, what I found out was I spent a huge amount of money on gas fees, even in 2020. Jeez, man, that was the biggest headache. And thank goodness we are going to Pulse Chain because, man, like triple digits in gas. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my cost basis is great for my buy down on my taxable events because I have the expense of getting into HEX, and all the transaction fees that go with that. But I didn't pull out a single HEX in 2020, so I don't have to worry about the sell side of things. So that was makes it a lot easier when all you have are write-offs and you have no gains yet.
And it's funny if you have to explain to new people that wait for a weekend and then you can transact a little bit more cheaper in this amazing technology. It's I don't know.
It's kind of
silly. It's silly.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah.
I'm just looking at the price right now. It's just fun that it pumps hard and then it just stays there. Like, just stays there. It's good.
Yeah, I thought the price was broken for a bit today because I was looking at it. I was like, this hasn't really moved.
Yeah, why doesn't it move? Because it's waiting for the next leg. Waiting for Will to get his paycheck.
A lot of people are bought, obviously, for sacrifice reasons, right? So the sell pressure should be less now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I can't read people's minds, but it just seems to be showing it. There's been a few people who are cashing out, right? But it just takes now the next wave when KNTX decides that he's going to put his buy in.
And it's funny because I'm fine with price moves either way. Like it can go up. I'm like really happy. It can go down, and I'm also happy because I want to buy more.
Yeah, until I buy the next batch, I want it to go down.
That's what everyone says, though. Like I'm okay with going up. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm really good.
Get him out of here. We're not okay with the price going up.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good either way. I mean, it's crypto. This is what crypto does, man. It goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down. But going back to my rant earlier, man, the tools are coming. The tools are coming. This is going to be a lot less volatile. I mean, if you guys read Richard Hart's tweet from earlier today, he has a great point. He says, I bet Uniswap version 3 is going to reduce volatility for everything in cryptocurrency. The massively increased capital efficiency means that both buyers and sellers can sell with less slippage, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't show me the whole thing on the Telegram, and I don't really want to pull it up right now. But I think there's some truth to that. I think he said Ethereum and Bitcoin can thank him later for it, or thank Hayden Adams for it. But the tools are coming, guys. This is, I think we're still going to see the big gains, just not maybe the volatile gains that we've seen in the past. And I think we'll see higher resistance levels for things, keeping them from going down. So I think we're here in a good place at a good time, guys. This is your chance, man. This is your chance.
Yeah, it's awesome because everyone, I think, can remember about or think about weekend. These weekend dumps or weekend pumps where the liquidity in the normal markets it's really low, and then just those I don't know who go full silly and liquidate everyone. And that's the that's the thing about Uniswap, because it's automated market maker. The liquidity will be like focused on in some range, and yeah, it can be good.
Peter, not to cut you off, great point. Not to cut you off, Rakim Rochelle, I appreciate you, brother. That
Wow.
Oh my
is
God.
very,
Oh my
very
God.
generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad that the HEX community appreciates Discourse Syndicate because we sure as hell appreciate the hell out of you guys. So, and maybe even more so on our end than yours. We're just happy to be part of this, and we're happy to be able to bring you updates and content. You know, from what the on the pulse of HEX. And so we really appreciate you, man. That is awesome. I'm gonna leave that up there for a little while. Appreciate
Wow.
you.
They
So
slipped.
I wanted to make a comment about that. You know, one of the things that, you know, the speculative nature, the you know, live hard, live fast, and leave a beautiful corpse kind of business of crypto over 2017, 18, 19. I think V3 actually is a game changer in a lot of ways. You know, people of a certain generation or a certain, you know, familiarity with the 7% annual return, they're not wanting to play with crypto because it's too volatile. It frightens them. Even if there's mad gains, they don't think that they would time the market in a way that they just don't lose their money, right? So the participants in a marketplace where you do have a narrower, you know, liquidity, you can be a liquidity provider in V3, like Crypto Coffee put out a pretty good video about that just a few hours ago. Same sort of thing. I think that actually encourages more adoption and more, you know, opportunity for conversation with people that previously wouldn't look at crypto because it's far too speculative. It's like being a VC. You're going to lose 9 times out of 10, and you're hoping that 10th time makes up for the losses.
Yep.
And so there's more participants. That's one thing. The other thing is, you know, this could be an extended bull. Maybe it isn't, but this could be an extended bull as a whole because of things like Uniswap. I don't know if there's going to be a direct competitor to Uniswap, but it is interesting that they licensed it for a couple of years. That's one thing, versus the open source nature of a lot of other crypto projects or whatever, and having the narrative that you should join with our community because we are decentralized and we are, you know, open source and you can copy our code left and right. I think it's interesting from that point. Also, you don't know what conversations Richard or OA, our founder that has trended data since 2019 of what HEX has done. You don't know the conversations between leadership inside of Uniswap and the potential fork of Pulse. You don't know, right? Speculation, you could say there's positive conversations going on. There's certainly not a lot of toxic conversation in the public Twitter sphere about it. So this little tag of love to Hayden, I think that that's really an interesting potential, right? Because in order to have V3 on Pulse, you'll need that community, but you'll need their license if you don't want to get you're sued, right?
Yeah.
So you don't know what might be coming on Pulse. And the last thing is I found money that I didn't even realize that I had because I thought I had gotten rid of all my shit coins of 2017. And I found things that had gone to almost zero that now are worth at least something. I remember that when the smart contracts of Ethereum were in 2017, there were companies like QuantStamp and things like that. They're like, oh, we're going to audit it. You're going to pay us to audit a smart contract and make sure that it's verified and blah, 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 blah. And I bought in, and then it pretty much collapsed because they did some nefarious shit about how they moved around money inside their system. And I thought they were completely gone. But I didn't even think it was worthwhile to sell. I think the gas fees were going to be higher than what I thought it was worth. But now in this bull, it's worth something. So you might look at old wallets that you had in 2017, old ledgers, because it might have been so much dust and maybe a gas cost to convert and nobody was really buying it anyway. I found tokens that, again, like I forgot about that because they were worth nothing. Like I put 20 grand in 17 and it became worth $100, you know? So I was like, fuck, that sucks. But now it's worth like, you know, 3 grand, 4 grand. So you'll find things if you look, maybe, right? So look at what you did in 2017. And another thing, Papa Boner talks about tax stuff. There's pretty good software about that. Make sure that if you do sell something, you find some crumbs or whatever. There's all kinds of ways that you can confirm with your CPA based on your jurisdiction what you're doing right now that is different than buying another coin. it's not necessarily a taxable event based on your jurisdiction with the send to pool kinds of concepts and things like that. So you need to talk with your CPA before the sacrifice chamber opens up, because there's a lot of maneuvering, whether it's your lifestyle, your location, your passports. There's a lot of stuff you should be looking at, because the world is changing very, very quickly. So just a lot of positivity in general, but also this is the time to be figuring out your life,
Yep. I don't want to.
And touching on the Uniswap V3, like the Uniswap team, they can take possession on Pulse, like on the Pulse clone. They like
Of the contract itself, yes.
Yeah, it can work perfectly. So I don't see a problem with those contracts to be moved to Pulse.
I have to put this up. It's pretty funny. 10 million hex dump, and DS gets a sweet donation immediately after. Exit scam. That's great.
Maybe it was the guilt.
That's awesome.
You don't have to feel guilty. You just give us a better price.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. Motley's going to go ahead and pump it back up tonight on the Nights of the Crypto Roundtable. So he'll pump it back
Motley,
up
if we don't pump,
yeah, I will never watch again.
You'll be held accountable. Yeah.
So I'd like to ask the room. I mean, you guys have some savvy too, not just because of HEX, but you've done other stuff. Do you feel more comfortable putting real world asset, converting other real world asset and things like that if the trend is a narrower band? So when you look at the T-share and you look at the line, the random line, you look at the HEX price, you look at the random line, you look at the trend of, this cup formations and things like that of Bitcoin over the, this storyline of about 2 years in between and things like that. With the Uniswap and liquidity provision, and that kind of narrows that band, that risk band and the profit band for being an LP. What are you looking for, more volatility and those massive spikes? Or are you looking for trended over time value as you invest, as you decide to put more money into a system?
I like the trending data because even though it may not look exactly like it did before, it may not be the exact, but it rhymes versus the past. I like that trended data, and I think it's almost impossible to beat the HEX chart. And so I love the idea of going YOLO into Pulse, but I have my reservations, guys. I FUD myself out on this on a regular basis. I still think HEX is the play. Oh, you can be a Pulse whale, but if your Pulse, you better have $1 billion Pulse if your Pulse is going to be worth, $1 to be a whale in the future. But I think I'm going to need far less HEX than that to reach the same value status and make trustless interest at the same time. So
especially if a lot of HEX gets sacrificed, which then obviously then goes to the OA, which then limits the supply of HEX. So you could be right long term. I think short term Pulse potentially could do very well. I think there'll be a real hard buy pressure on Pulse to start with anyway. So unless you're there quickly, you're probably going to miss out anyway.
The trend that I've seen mostly in the community though is that a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to get in Pulse, but they don't necessarily have reasons for it to be more valuable than just buying HEX. Like, we don't know all the fundamentals that are in Pulse, right? Like, there's too little information to understand if that actually is the right play. What I've noticed so far is people just want to buy Pulse for support's sake, for knowing that it will be something, it will be cool, it will definitely be profitable. If it's better than HEX, I don't know. No one knows because we don't have enough info on that. So I think if anything, we need to actually make that pump a lot would be a stream where Richard explains some of the things that are concrete fundamentals for to persuade people to put in money in the sacrifice chamber, which he probably will do because it wouldn't make sense to not do it.
I don't know. Today, Johnny Chaos was the first one that I saw to actually start to pump the brakes on the whole go, get me all the pulse I can get. And now we're kind of getting the community starting to waver there because they don't have that information, like Markable was saying. But I still want to ape the hell in. I mean, come on, stop raining on my parade. I'm gonna grab that stuff because
I'm not saying it's not a bad play. I don't want anyone to think that I am telling them that it is a bad play to go into Pulse. You got a new network that is going to enrich the Ethereum network. And I mean, I don't want the narrative out there that we're going to take over for Ethereum network because at some point they do have a large team, and when they get off their asses and actually finish developing, ETH 2.0 will come out. So in the meantime, I think running the narrative of the side chain, kind of like what Polkadot wants to run the narrative of with interoperability between the chains, I think that's a much better play. I think the sum is greater than the whole when you can have multiple networks coinciding and working together to build something larger than itself. So I think that's the play, and I think there's going to be some gains on Pulse. Don't get me wrong. I think you'll get multiple X's. I don't doubt that for a minute. Do not doubt that for a minute. And the selfish side of me wants you guys to all go sacrifice all of your HEX for Pulse. Please do, because I'm gonna hold a huge bag of HEX and it's not going anywhere. But I do plan on going in on Pulse, guys. I want you guys to know that. I'm not trying to give you guys instructions to go one way while I pivot the other and profit from it.
Will says something good to say as well, like narrative, yes, but play, hard to say. Consumers will ultimately determine the end result. And that's definitely true. Also, for the people that have gone into HEX early, it makes more sense to actually hold that HEX. And I would say to everyone, just hold your HEX and get another allocation for Pulse. I wouldn't necessarily bite into my own HEX stack. But for people like, still, I think HEX is really early, and I think price will go up like crazy. But you have to understand, if you're buying in now, maybe Pulse is the play. So it depends on the personal situation, because, well, if you buy on 3 cents, then 6 cents is 2x. But if you buy 1 cent, then 2 cents and 3 cents and 4 cents and 5 cents. So it depends on the situation, right?
It goes back to what you were saying earlier, Marco. It depends on how Pulse launches, what the fundamentals in Pulse are. You don't have enough information. I mean, I think all of us probably here are going to go as hard as we can into Pulse.
The biggest reason for me to do that is I have decided I don't allow stress anymore in my crypto situations. I just want, I don't maximize for profit anymore. I just maximize for least amount of stress. Like, I just want to have the place so that I can be rational and I can just live my life. Like some people will disagree with me, but like a few million more or less, or a few thousand more or less. Yeah,
I disagree with you.
Exactly. People will disagree with me.
What were we talking about?
If I get less stressed for having a few thousand less, I'm all for that. Like, get more with higher stress. It doesn't make sense. Also, you'll die sooner if you have stress. So
there you go.
HEX is the safer play now, isn't it? Like that's what it feels like. HEX has proven itself. It will pay you trust as interest, so it feels like a much safer play.
Yeah, but I'm putting money into Pulse so that I don't miss out on the potential of
smart. Smart. I'm not saying miss it. I'm not saying don't participate, because I don't think that's wise either. I think you're gonna need, it's the transaction layer. You're gonna need something to transact with anyway, even if it's super cheap and you don't need much of it to do it. You still want to have more than the other guy in the system. So I do think that, Overwatch, I hope you don't mind me saying that instead of the name you have here on the screen, but 50 to 100x upside for HEX. Pulse will be close to parity on launch. HEX, please. So that's kind of the way I'm feeling about this too. Well, it is for sure the way I'm feeling about this too. But if you are going to go in to Pulse, it's still not a bad idea with new economic energy, as was shown through the slides that Papa B created last Tuesday. That it's best for you in most cases, not just taxable events, but it's also best for you probably to go in with new economic energy. So not HEX you've been sitting on for the last year and a half, but new HEX that you just bought, and then get that tiny appreciation pump in the meantime, and then sacrifice it for the Pulse or X or whatever it's going to be. And I think Big Pep nailed this one right. I think X is going to be Pulse. It just seems like the right play. But we'll see what other game theory Richard comes out with in the meantime. But it might not be a bad idea if you're going to go into Pulse, if you're going to YOLO into Pulse or steadily DCA into Pulse, to start accumulating HEX now for that sacrifice. Because I do think you will get, say you have 100 USD right now, you could probably end up with an additional 100 USD, so 200 USD by the time of the sacrifice if you're buying right now, because I do believe that HEX is still going to continue to run up, at least for the next couple months.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and that's actually my play. I try to accumulate HEX with new money and then sacrifice it for Pulse.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
And then I will be probably only buying Pulse HEX.
There you go. Going forward.
Yeah.
Well, I like this.
Because
Johnny, you and me both, buddy. So I want all the market dumpers to ape into Pulse with their huge liquid bags of HEX. That's what I want. So I'm not trying to hide that that's in my best interest, right? So I'm not gonna give you the rope-a-dope. Look over here, then I'm gonna punch you over here. I'm telling you up front. That's what I want for you guys to do, but what you guys do is up to you.
Hey, KNTX, I got a question about Pulse and gas fees that Johnny brought up, because I really liked what he was talking about today. It made me really think about wanting Pulse to appreciate, but we don't want that because we want cheap gas fees, basically. But the question is, with so many Pulse, is there a way to regulate the decimals of Pulse so that we always achieve very nice gas fees, but somehow the asset goes from 0 to a little bit more than 0 and make everybody gazillionaires? Can you have both, or is it impossible?
Depends how low the fee starts, right? So the fees are less than like 1 cent to start with. Even 100x is still affordable to transact on.
I mean,
Thanks, Chance, nicely for the $20. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man.
The chain can decide on like maybe a stable price of transaction fees.
Mm-hmm.
If that's something that will get us attention, then the node it's beneficial for the nodes. Maybe I don't know. For the whole chain to have low transaction fees to suck up users.
So my experience on Matic with QuickSwap was similar to many people, if you used that at all, was you got one Matic. So, I mean, just for opening the wallet or moving over. And then I think, I don't know how many hundreds of back and forths or movements or whatever I did. I still think I had 0.7 or 0.75 of a Matic, when I stopped using the system. That's my vision of the cost. Like you say, it's a penny, you say it's whatever it is if you held, my imagination is that before the fork, you have 1 ETH in a wallet. And then on the other side of the fork, you have 1 Pulse in that wallet on the fork side. And then you spend that, but it has a percentage just similar to the percentage of an Ethereum. Is that the way you see a gas cost? Do you see it as, because it's hard to say 1 penny when there isn't anybody buying Pulse yet, right? You're going to have transactions and it's going to be percentage of a Pulse. But what is that? It's percentage of 0 if you're talking about dollar value. So it really depends on your perspective, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Pulse will have no miners. It will be only validators that can.
Right.
Probably they can decide what the fee will be, and
because it's deflationary, you'll accrue value even if you never do a transaction. Your Pulse will likely accrue value even if you never move it or do anything with it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Over time, though, won't it? So the supply of Pulse will be massive. Let's not forget that. So yes, it's deflationary, but it's going to take a long time to see the effects of that deflation.
Yeah.
Unless the network got really, really busy. Like,
Probably delegating.
The same narrative with Matic is, yes, over the course of a month or 2 months or whatever, I've used less than 1/4 of a single Matic, right? And yet Matic increased in value 50x during that time because there's still narrative driving the price of a Matic. You know, what's the trading into Ethereum or into dollar, however you want to look at it. So you're still going to have narrative that says this is now worth something. Oh, it's worth more. And now I'm using the same percentage or whatever of a token, right? It gets confusing is what I'm saying. So you need to make sure you're in a tax jurisdiction that does not matter what the fuck you do. You know,
it's going to start off, we know it's going to start off cheap. One of the selling points of Pulse is it's going to be cheap transactions. So like unless like the price goes up massively and they don't adjust the cost, which they could do in the future and put it down. So you could constantly with the validators, you could change that cost, right? So if it got too expensive, you could just consensus come and make it cheaper again to transact.
And also, you know, the idea that, you know, up until recently, the norm has always been that you're going to have massive dips in the value of something. You're going to have a crypto bear, right? Or just like you know, whether you say real estate had a bubble collapse or whatever. It climbed for an awful long time before 2007 and 8. And then, you know, certain property areas did lose massive value, but the house still existed, right? And then it regained that value over time, whether it's through the government, printing money, population growth, whatever you want to call the narrative for the increase of the value of a piece of property. I think the same thing is highly likely in HEX because it is the counter to people like Warren Buffett that say, don't buy Pokemon cards, don't buy gold, physical gold, because it doesn't pay you to hold it, right? That's his only problem really with Bitcoin even, is it doesn't pay you anything. It's simply a commodity, if you want to call it a commodity. And so is gold, and so is comic books, and so is, you know, John F. Kennedy, you know, collectible memorabilia, whatever, right? That's a single purchase that you call an investment, and you're hoping to have an increase in value because somebody else is going to buy it for more in the future. So he doesn't really adopt that, but he would adopt HEX because HEX's design and code and network and participation, especially on Pulse as far as a transaction or slippage, is very attractive to a long-term mentality, long-term successful investor class, right? People that have fiduciary responsibility for other people's money, they usually have to get about 6 to 7% annually. And they don't want a lot of volatility because they have responsibility for it, other people's money, and they have laws about that stuff. It just makes it very attractive that V3, low transaction cost, HEX product could be a really great storm of you know, appreciation. Pretty cool.
So I want to revisit that real quick, Papa B. I think here's my fear. So I think transactions will always be pretty cheap, even if the price of Pulse appreciates. I think it'll still be fairly inexpensive because it is deflationary. The validators will still make something, and they'll just process a lot of transactions to be able to make a little bit of money. But the only worry that I have in the future is that the validators become like the miners, where they start dictating what the network's going to do, where they're going to start saying, well, we're going to increase the fee because we're not making enough. And that is my only concern. So, and for that reason, I don't think we need to be too concerned about it. That's probably why 17 of the 33 validators will be Richard Hart and his entities alone. So that you have there can never be a 51 attack against the network. But that was literally my only concern. And I think the network can choose at that point in time. Hey, you know, Pulse was $1 and it was 0.01 Pulse per transaction, depending on the S load and the gas functions. And now it's $100 and 0.01 Pulse is a lot larger transaction fee. Well, I think that as a validator, especially since you don't have to run all the mining hardware, I think you can come back and reset what those fees are going to be. So I don't think that'll be an issue on our network as much as it is on a proof of work network.
Yeah, and let's not forget it will be delegated proof of stake network.
Yeah.
So probably there will be a lot of users delegating their stake to validators or aspiring validators. So if the validators start to act weirdly or somewhat not desirably, then they can be switched for someone better.
Yeah, that's true. So it is network consensus can kick validators out and bring new validators in. So
It's
You
not
know-
just about the economic value that they have.
So I like this, going back to what Gary was saying, because this is right on par. This was made directly after Gary's comments about like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. They don't like a pet rock that sits there and doesn't earn them yield, but yet at the same time they will buy the mining company that mines the gold out of the ground, because there's a return there. There's an annual return, not just a price speculative return. But Overwatch is right. Interest bearing is where whales want to be. They're not interested in destroying the playground. When you've got a lot of economic energy somewhere, you just want to make yield on it. You don't want to destroy the whole playground. Why would you destroy the thing that generates you a residual income?
Yep. True.
If I can add
And
something.
there's also go ahead.
About the miner situation on Ethereum and also validator situation on Pulse in the future. We need to be honest about one thing. Miners are not to blame 100% for the level of gas fees. It's network congestion. I'm sure they're happy for fees to be higher and higher and go up, but it's not like they are setting the fees. It's we need to blame like arbitrage bots and other things happening. Like it's just the congestion, and we are years away from that situation to appear on Pulse chain, just like Richard said. And validators will not be setting the price, right, on gas, or it's just the network condition.
Could be, yeah.
Could be. I don't know what the parameters are going to be on that. So, hey, guys, real quick, Motley, everybody check Twitter. He's got a Twitter campaign to get HEX in front of Elon Musk in the next 2 days for the Saturday Night Live skit that he's going to be doing. So make sure every one of you retweet, like, comment, everything else. And he it's a very, very ambitious play here, but hopefully Motley can pull it off. If we can get Elon Musk to mention HEX, that might be a good or bad. I don't care if it's good or bad. Just awareness is good. So
Yeah. I still think he will pump his Doge.
Oh yeah, sure.
Probably.
That's gonna happen.
Gary, did you get that hangnail off? Did you bite it off? Okay, is it okay for you there?
I've got a blister that's about 14 years old. That I still
Oh,
fuck
nice.
that's our boy Motley.
You still chew on it, man.
I'm not even 14.
with. Yeah, I was
years
trying
old.
to catch the edge of it there.
Oh, lovely.
Um,
Just making
so-
sure.
another observation is, as you see evolution of a system, like when commercial airline flights first began, you had military flights in the World War II, but it wasn't very often that you had an airline flight available to you as a civilian from Los Angeles to Chicago. Does anybody want to have a guess what in today's dollars an airline flight from Chicago to Los Angeles would be for a single person, and then consider what it would be cost for a family of four to move or to fly to Chicago? Do we have a guess about what today's dollar price would have been back then, inflation adjusted?
$35,000.
$35,000 and 1 cent.
That's his 4,000.
35,000.
So
$1.
6 cents.
historically, it wasn't the first flight. It was like the first year of commercial flights. It was an average of $6,000 per person. So if you're going to have a family of four people, that's a big chunk of money, because you are having a time savings That's why when you see these old photos of people on airplanes, they were dressed nice. They wore nice clothes, is because they, one, were relatively affluent, and it was a big deal to be able to get on an airplane and arrive in another city in only a couple of hours. And then, you know, like, I'm old enough to remember that it was a normal decision that families made about, are we going to take the bus to go visit family, or are we going to take an airplane? You know, airplane has expense, but we're saving time. And it's the mentality of the population that makes that decision. Is the transaction cost and savings of using a bus better, even though I give up 10 hours to get there? Or is the time that I'm saving better and the network experience better because I'm willing to pay the premium of using an airline flight? Now, if you want to take a bus from Chicago to Los Angeles, it will cost you about the same. It's about parity with an airline flight, right? So these networks, even though they have different value propositions, value for value exchange propositions with the people that are buying for the service or whatever, between the Ethereum HEX, the Pulse HEX, the narrative we've heard, and really reason for the launch initially, has been Hexicans are losing $20,000 to $25,000 per day in Ethereum gas cost, right? Transaction costs are extraordinarily high. You know, unstaking after 10 years might be extremely expensive if we stay on this particular network as it exists. So just realize that I think that, you know, the idea to decide that buses are going to go away because airplanes exist is kind of like saying Ethereum HEX is going to go away and wither because Pulse HEX originates, right? I see eventually just different populations will have different concerns. They'll say, my transaction cost on this is too much. And other ones will say, I want this ROI potential, or I want the savings of time, or I want the stability of this other network representation. So I wouldn't be selling. I mean, the only reason I'm selling HEX is because I will freshly buy new HEX with other assets that are converted into crypto. That's what I'm in the staging platform or position to do, right? So are other people that are commenting these things too, right? And you guys. So just keep in mind that there's different groups or populations that want to get to the same destination. They want to go from Los Angeles to Chicago, right? They have that same destination in mind, and they just have a different perception about how they're going to get there and what that value is. You know, is their time more valuable? Is the transaction cost more valuable?
Buses are not going away though.
Right.
Also, it doesn't really matter. Like, we have both. We have buses and planes. You get it. You have your bus now. You get.
I'm saying they coexist with each other.
Yeah,
so I don't see the Ethereum transfer of value of HEX, network, community, decision makers, whatever, influencers, saying, hey, you know, we're going to move to this other system. And when there's bridges,
no, probably not.
It will actually spark more participation in both networks. I see the HEX that goes into other hands on Ethereum going into hands that will never sell. That's the way I see it. I see that pool of available HEX or staked HEX or T shares that will continually almost deflate, you know, as far as what's available to be bought and execute that code. The same code mechanisms, they'll still work on, and they will work effectively, I believe, in Pulse as well. You'll just have another price discovery phase, and you'll have another chart system, and you'll see trended data over time, just like you did with HEX, in my opinion. And you'll want to participate, whether it's FOMO or whether it's steady dollar cost average. You'll want to participate based on your own biases and input from others.
I think you'll see Pulse has more mass adoption than the ETH side, purely for things like Staker. Like if Staker incorporates Pulse into it, transactions are going to be much cheaper. That doesn't necessarily mean that the ETH HEX will be cheaper though. But I reckon that as people actually using the chain, I think you'll see more people using.
It would make sense for the T-share rate to go up quicker.
Higher on Pulse.
On the Pulse, yes. So guys, think about this here for a second. What was HEX designed to do? It was designed to be locked up for long periods of time and provide more demand for buying pressure and less selling pressure over time, right? That doesn't change just because the Ethereum network is more expensive. It just means the velocity is happening at a slower rate. So I think you're still going to continue to see the value ratchet up on the Ethereum chain. I think you always will, and I think Gary's 100% correct. This is going to go into the diamond-handed people on the Ethereum chain that are just going to continue to hold this forever and ever and ever, and it will dilute the T-shares over time. The T-shares are just going to go down as more of this becomes scarce, and people are I'm sure people may be staking for longer at that point in time because it behooves you to with the gas fees, but I don't think you're going to ever come to a system state where everybody starts dumping it. So I think there's going to be massive value accrual on the Ethereum side, more so than possibly even the Pulse chain side. Now, I think the Pulse level HEX will be more of a transaction layer. You're going to see a lot more activity going on there because the cost to do so behooves you to do so. But I think you will at some point see a gold to silver, and I've talked about this before. I think you'll see a gold to silver ratio where people kind of look at the original ETH HEX as a gold and silver being as more of a transactional version of it.
Could be that the Pulse HEX will be basically a tool to onboard to ETH HEX, because it will be easy for little stakes or little fish to make some bucks, see some action on that Pulse HEX, and they could decide to move to the big league.
I think, again, I'm considering, as far as my investment strategy coming up, is the things about Hayden recently, the V3 recently, the fact that it's under license for the next 2 years, the fact that Richard knows that, obviously comments about it to us and others in the Twitter sphere. I think that Pancake Swap and Sushi Swap and things like that are derived really from the success of Uniswap. All these other tokens that got duct taped onto other DEXs, right, that happened over this past year. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I have no idea. I have no input, but I would not be surprised at all that V3 and a relationship between Uniswap and bridges are enabled and assisted by the Uniswap people, not just because Richard wills it to be. And I think that it's very interesting that right now the market cap of QuickSwap is like 250 million. That's a pretty quick growth to 250 million or whatever it is sits at. Uniswap in the past year, I think it might be like 5 billion or something. I haven't looked recently, but it's 5 billion or something market cap on tokens on that exchange. So I can see the potential, at least, for olive branches between the two leaderships of a Uniswap V3 on Pulse network. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you are right.
Oh yeah.
There is a big potential between interoperability. Like, why wouldn't the teams cooperate? Like, it's only beneficial for them. Like, it's the same thing to that. It's beneficial for the whole space to have something like Bitcoin that can be on every TV station and onboard people to crypto. Like, I'm not at this point. I'm not especially a fan of Bitcoin, but like, if it's doing what it's designed or what it's evolved to be, then okay, I'm fine with it.
So I think if they support it as well, there's a great economic opportunity for them because they hold a lot of Uni tokens and they're going to get a copy of those Uni tokens on there. And also they make money off the exchange, right? So if they have two successful exchanges, even if the Pulse network's less volume than the other one, there's still a great opportunity for them to make money out of it.
Yep.
So if the worst comes to worst and they don't, there'll just be a copy. So they either embrace or someone will just make a copy of it.
Right, right.
Not version 3, but version 2.
If everything went, I'm not saying it would, but if everything went perfect, I could see people not saying win Binance, but win Pulse, because that synergy is potential, right, between DEXs and the crypto product and the leadership that's shown by example trended data.
Yep.
Hey, Gary, why wouldn't you pile up on Uni now and wait for that to be copied over? It's the quickest way to get that over on the new exchange, right? Wouldn't that be a great strat? or would you wait to get to Pulse and then Uni to suddenly appear and then trade your Pulse to Uni on the new chain? Which one do you think would be a better strat?
Second.
Are you saying that
There'll be a lot of Uni available, right? On the market.
You know that you'll get the copy. You know you'll get the copy if you buy Uni now, but you'll be spending a lot more capital. If you take whatever you want now and sacrifice it, or when the sacrificial chamber opens, throw it in there. It comes out as Pulse, presumably, and then you wait for this possibility of a Uni clone to come out on Pulse. Then you'll be able to change your Pulse tokens to Uni and Pulse Uni and also Pulse X.
Yeah, I mean, I think those conversations are happening behind closed doors, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't want to I want to have 20 things I'm juggling in my head. I want to have like one or two. So I'm kind of narrowed.
You've just given us you've just given me more stress. So now I've got to think about this type of thing.
The way I would do it is
Papa B, just buy HEX. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I would do it is you have
the charts will help the narrative of HEX on both systems. The charts will help the narrative on both systems. If you, again, not financial advice, but I'm selling a $2.4 million real estate to participate in this thing. So people are serious about what they're going to do either on HEX existing system or other systems. So who knows what happens? It's going to be fireworks.
So the way I would do it is you get Uni, or if you want to have Uni, I think it will go up for sure. So you get Uni, and then what I would do is you use that Uni to buy HEX for sacrifice. So you buy HEX, then you put it in the sacrificing chamber. Then you will get Pulse, and then I would buy Uni. Like that. I think that's what I would do. Like if Uni would go over to the Pulse chain, you would have more chance of higher gains if you buy Uni with the Pulse that you have. And if you have the Uni already and you get a copy, you're already at that price. You're not going, you're maybe going to 10x, but that's it. Like you're way better off buying Pulse probably. So that's what I would do. Like everything that I'm running with other coins.
What? HEX probably. Like there's no point buying ERC20s for the copies.
No.
Unless you already hold them and you don't
want them. No, I actually agree with that. I'm more likely to sacrifice for Pulse and then be able to pull by using the new Pulse that you get these ERC20s on the Pulse chain during this new price discovery phase. I think that's a much better play. I think Wake Dog's got this down though. He's gonna get Pulse and buy BitConnect with it. So this guy's got this,
saying that
man.
For a while now. You should definitely do that. like Warren Buffett said, right? You only want to buy stuff that pays you.
BitConnect.
And again, reinforce that. That's the narrative. That's the code. That's the community is built around is owning something in crypto that pays you.
Yep.
I think that's where it's changing though, isn't it? Because that wasn't it before. The crypto before was you buy something cheap, you pump it up, and you sell it. That's the whole system. And that's what the system.
The game has been volatile.
And that's why I was so interested. I was looking, dude, I played with the Masternode coins back in 2017 because I wanted that yield. I wanted a guarantee. If I was going to hold it anyway, I wanted to just sit there in a wallet, even if I had to run a freaking virtual machine on a server somewhere and get paid trustlessly because I was a validator, so to speak, on the network. I played in the Masternode shitcoin game. That's what I was looking for from 2017. So, and then obviously middle of 2017, I came across Richard Hart, started watching his stuff, loved what he had to say. And then when he came out after he pivoted from the computational fluid dynamics, the CFD token, to Bitcoin HEX, which later turned into HEX as we know, and he is talking about getting yield on holding it, I was like, boom, I'm in. That's what I've been wanting. That's what I've been looking for since 2017. I didn't want to speculate on whether I had the right coin in my hand and someone else was going to do the pump and dump and I could get out at the top before it dumped again. I didn't want to play that game. I still don't want to play that game. I'm with Markable, man. That if you can make money in crypto and you can do it stress free, that's where you're gonna find me. And and I can't wait for this Pulse launch to be over because I'm stressed out over it, and I shouldn't even be worried about it, honestly, because I've got my bags of Hex and I'm set, and I'm gonna get a duplicate copy on the other side. And I definitely want to participate and get some appreciation and some gains in Pulse, and I want to be a whale in that ecosystem over there. I do, but this stress is almost too stressful for me right now.
I have an announcement. Oh wait, Motley first has an announcement.
Yes, Motley definitely has an announcement. Hell yeah, everyone! Keep tweeting Elon about mentioning Hex on Saturday Night Live. Support each other's tweets. We're blowing him up right now. So you guys. All of you guys, if you have a Twitter and you've ever been a good Hexican and you've ever retweeted and you've ever commented on anything, get your butt on this one right now. It won't take you long as a Hexican to find it. So
now.
Good. All of you guys do this. Make a point to get in front of the eyes of Mr. Doge Lord himself. So
Motley says money talks. Sorry for cutting you off, Markable. If you're going to cut me off, that's the way to do it, man.
Markable just shut right up. He said, "Oh, Motley's got something to say." Works out well. Yeah, you guys, let's do this. Let's make this a campaign. It'll be fun too.
Yeah,
I love our Twitter campaigns.
If you're not tweeting something to Elon Musk today, I'm not going to be mad, but I'm definitely going to be disappointed. Like you will live with the feeling that I think the whole Wake Up Hex crew will be disappointed in you. So
absolutely. We may have to ban you from watching our streams if you don't do this. So
forever in the timeout room.
I can be bought off though. If you think everybody else is disappointed, I can not be disappointed for 10,000 Hex.
Oh, you're so cheap.
It's a fair price.
I'm 100K at least. I'm 100K at least. So you're cheap. You're a cheap date.
I'm a cheap date.
KNTX, but you have the admin keys from the stream, so
that's right.
You have to be more expensive.
That's right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Motley, I love this. Hit them with the "I'm not mad, just disappointed."
Hey, while you're got Motley on screen, ask him how much that tattoo he should have gotten would be worth today.
Oh,
that was 2 million, wasn't it?
Oh, wait, what happened?
2 million.
Someone fill me in.
What happened? A tattoo, right? What was it?
Hey, Gary, how much is the hospital bill to take care of your infection that you inflicted upon yourself?
Scars give you character. Scars give you character.
It was Markable we did a
53,000.
$53,000 is what that would have been worth right now, Motley, if you'd gotten that tattoo. So it was the New Year's Ski Cat Challenge. So Ski Cat offered 2 million Hex to anyone who was willing to get a tattoo on screen that night. So,
like of the Hex logo.
Yeah.
No, Richard.
And Gary was stabbing himself.
Yeah.
Richard's face.
Richard's face.
You're muted. You're muted.
Wait, why'd you say that?
On a Puerto Rican in 3 in the morning, to do it on the New Year's.
Well, it would have been worth $2K to wake someone up.
If someone two streams ago when Richard was doing the Telegram chat, he because of Papa B, he said that beards were lame. I would love to tattoo Richard's face on my face just so that he has a beard. So
that is, I would pay 2 million Hex probably for that right now.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So, like every other crypto isn't hammering him, how can Hex stand out with Elon? Who's in New York City and close to SNL's location that can roll up in a Hex gradient Lambo? Overwatch.
Okay, just do it.
So, Overwatch, I'm not familiar with this. Hopefully someone else can bring this up. Maybe Motley can go over it tonight on the Knights of the Crypto Table. I'm not familiar with this new Etherlight airdrop and getting it converted for HEX. So maybe you guys can, since you guys have some shitcoin connoisseurs on your channel, maybe you guys can give us a rundown on what this Etherlight airdrop is. So maybe it gives you homework to do before the, maybe it gives you some homework to do before the stream. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I really appreciate everyone for joining us tonight. Overwatch, Motley, I can't remember the
Markable.
Chance Nicely. I couldn't think of the first name. Chance, I'm sorry. Chance Nicely. You guys are all fantastic. I appreciate you guys all donating. That is really cool, you guys. We really appreciate the support here. We do this for you guys, and that just helps us take care of some of the costs that are associated with streaming so that we can continue to do this. So we appreciate that. And if you guys ever have any questions that you guys want moved to the top of the list, the super chat, it doesn't have to be a huge super chat. It just makes it a different color, and it makes it really easy to see. So I don't care if it's 99 cents. If you guys do the super chats, that will get our attention so we can make sure to address your conversation or your question. So with that, guys, I appreciate everyone for joining me today. Well, the rest of you guys, get on your Twitter game, man. We got to get in front of Elon.
So, guys, good morning for all the Australians. Aft and sleep well. Bye.
And Markable.